The more I sit with this, the more it feels like Monday on General Hospital is walking in with a badge in one hand and a trapdoor in the other. I think this new guy, Joe, is not just arriving to make a cameo and smile politely at the PCPD desk. From my perspective, he looks like the kind of character who could shake the whole board on day one. And if the whispers are even half right, then two very familiar faces could be staring straight at a very bad morning. What really jumps out to me is how fast Joe might move. I feel like that matters. Soap characters do not usually come in cold and start making arrests unless the writers want us to feel the room shift immediately. So when I hear that Joe may snag Nathan and Curtis, my first reaction is, wow, this is not a soft landing. This is a hard launch. It seems to me that Joe is being positioned as someone who does not care about history, only about the evidence in front of him. Or at least that is the image he wants everyone to see. And honestly, I could be wrong, but I do not think Joe is just some fresh-faced cop learning the ropes. That would be too easy. From my perspective, there is something a little more strategic about him. Maybe he is not even a true rookie. Maybe he is being sent in with a very specific mission. If that is the case, then his first big move would not just be about law enforcement. It would be about control. It would be about stepping into Port Charles like he already knows where the bodies are buried, even if he is pretending otherwise. Now let me talk about Nathan, because that is where things get really slippery. I feel like the big question is not just whether Joe arrests him. The bigger question is who Nathan really is and what upper management might already know. If the rumor is right, and the real name underneath that face is Casius, then the whole thing gets messier in the best soap way possible. In my opinion, that would mean the people above the PCPD may already know Nathan is fake. They may already know the badge is built on a lie. And if that is true, then Joe's assignment might not be to uncover the truth. It might be to manage it. That is the kind of twist I love and also hate a little, because it means every move Joe makes could be read two different ways. On the surface, he is cleaning house. Underneath, he may be helping hide the mess in a cleaner box. I think that is why his presence feels so loaded. He could be the guy who exposes everything, or the guy who quietly sweeps the worst parts under the rug while making himself look righteous. From my perspective, both versions are deliciously dangerous. And then there is the Jocelyn piece, which makes this even uglier. If Nathan really did grab Jocelyn and that part still has not come out fully, then Joe might be arriving with a very narrow target. I feel like that kind of setup makes him seem almost surgical. Not interested in the whole crime. Just interested in the mask. Just interested in the person standing in front of him. If that is his mission, then he could nab Nathan fast and have him dragged off to some hidden, high-security black hole before anyone on the outside even has time to blink. I could be wrong, but that would actually make Joe scarier, not safer. Because a cop who acts too fast without asking too many questions can be just as dangerous as a crooked one. Maybe even more dangerous. I think that is the uneasy energy here. He might look like a hero because he is catching the bad guy, but the way he catches him could tell us a lot. If he is willing to move someone into a secret prison situation without any real public process, then what exactly is the line he will not cross? And who decided he gets to draw it? Now, Curtis, this part feels very different, but maybe even more explosive. If Joe ends up arresting Curtis after Curtis hits Isaiah, I think that would hit Port Charles like a thunderclap. And to me, this is where Curtis starts looking less like a polished power player and more like a man making reckless choices from a place of panic. I feel like his behavior around Isaiah has been building towards something ugly. If he accuses Isaiah of causing the accident and running off without solid proof, then that is not just suspicion, that is slander territory, at least in my opinion. And if Curtis also swings on Isaiah just because Isaiah is near Portia and showing concern for the baby, then Hugh, that is a whole different problem. I think that reads as jealousy, fear, and maybe a little possessiveness all crashing together at once. From my perspective, Curtis may not even be thinking clearly anymore. He may be acting from raw emotion, which is exactly how people end up doing something they cannot walk back from. Once hands get thrown, the whole room changes. The story stops being about bad vibes and starts being about consequences. That is why I think Joe arresting Curtis would actually make a lot of sense if the writers want to show that this new cop is not here to play favorites. Curtis hitting Isaiah, then facing the possibility of charges for false accusations and unlawful assault gives Joe a clean way to prove himself. I feel like that is the kind of first impression the PCPD would love. New guy comes in, makes the tough call, follows the law. Very tidy. Very shiny. Almost too shiny. But I also cannot shake the feeling that the shiny version is the dangerous version. Because what if Joe is not just enforcing the law? What if he is performing it? I think that is where the Sidwell rumor gets spicy. If there is even a whisper that Joe could be secretly working for Sidwell, then his whole by-the-book energy starts to smell like cover. Not proof, just a smell. And soap operas love a smell before they give us the fire. From my perspective, a hidden Sidwell tie would make every arrest feel engineered. Nathan gets grabbed. Curtis gets grabbed. Poor Charles thinks Joe is the cleanup man. But maybe he is actually the doorman, making sure the right people get moved, contained, or silenced. I feel like that would be a very soap-shaped betrayal because it would mean his trustworthiness is the bait, not the truth. Still, here is my controversial take, and I know some of you may not love it. I think Curtis may be the one in the most immediate trouble, not Nathan. I know Nathan's situation sounds more dramatic, and obviously the fake identity angle is juicy, but Curtis feels like the character who is currently making the most emotionally dangerous mistakes. He is not just caught in a conspiracy. He is making personal choices that could land him in a courtroom. In my opinion, that makes him more vulnerable right now than the man hiding behind a false name. At the same time, I also think Joe could end up being one of those characters who seems like a straight arrow only until we realize he is aiming at somebody else's target. That is the fun part. He might genuinely believe he is doing the right thing. Or he might be playing an entirely separate game. I feel like both options fit the energy of this story. And that uncertainty is exactly why this feels so watchable. So here is where I land. Joe could be a cleanup cop, a planted operative, a secret Sidwell inside man, or some blend of all three. Nathan could be exposed, relocated, or quietly buried under a new layer of secrecy. Curtis could be headed for real legal heat if Isaiah's injuries worsen and the accusations stick. And Port Charles? Port Charles could be about to learn that the new guy with the badge is either saving the town or sorting it for somebody else. I could be wrong, but I think Monday is setting up a very slippery road. And I want to know what you think, because this one is packed with possible double crosses. Is Joe the law, the cover, or the trap?
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.